You know, from the coffee that gets you going in the morning to the very clothes on your back, agriculture is everywhere. It's so woven into our lives that, honestly, we kind of forget just how amazing and complex that whole journey from a simple seed in the soil to, well, our entire society really is.
So let's ask that question. How does it all really happen? I mean, how does that one little seed become a meal on your plate or the shirt you're wearing right now? It's time to peel back the layers and really dig in.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the different ways we farm, then get into the crucial timing of the seasons. After that, we'll look at the revolutions that totally changed everything, and we'll even learn some of the cool, colorful language of farming. Okay, first things first. We have to get one thing straight. There's no single right way to farm. It really all comes down to the goal. Are you trying to feed your family, or are you trying to feed a country? Because the answer to that question changes absolutely everything.
The best way to think about it is on a spectrum. On one end, you've got small families working little plots of land, just growing enough to get by. And on the complete other end, you've got these massive commercial operations that are basically giant engines for profit. The scale is just immense. So let's start at the very beginning with what's called primitive subsistence farming. This is basically agriculture in its most ancient form. We're talking small patches of land, the family or community provides all the labor, and you are completely 100% reliant on nature, on the rain, the sun, and whatever fertility the soil naturally has. And the tools here, they're simple, time-tested. We're talking wooden plows, digging sticks, maybe some help from animal labor. The goal here isn't to make a profit. It's simply about feeding your family, about self-sufficiency. It's a way of life. But what happens when you have more mouths to feed, when populations start to boom? Well, that's when farming has to get more intensive. The goal is still just to subsist, but now you've got to squeeze a lot more out of the same piece of land. And that usually means bringing in things like irrigation or biochemicals to boost your yield. Now, there's a particular method here that's, well, pretty controversial. It's called slash and burn. Basically, farmers clear a patch of forest, they burn the vegetation, and the ash from that fire acts as a natural fertilizer. They farm it for a few seasons, and then they move on and do it all over again somewhere else. And while you can see how this method might have worked for small communities in the past, today the consequences are just devastating. It leads directly to deforestation, the smoke creates terrible air pollution, and eventually the soil gets completely depleted. It's a tough cycle. All right, so the how of farming is only half the story. The when you do it is just as important. Seriously, timing is everything, especially in a place like India, where the entire agricultural year dances to the rhythm of the monsoons. So in India, the year is broken down into 3 main growing seasons, each with its own schedule and its own set of crops. You've got the Kharif season, which kicks off with the summer monsoon. Then comes the Rabi season for the winter crops, and kind of squeezed in between is a short little summer season called Zaid. And you can really see the difference. On one side, you have the curve crops like rice and cotton that absolutely love all that monsoon water. On the other side, you've got rabi crops like wheat, which do much better in the cooler, drier winter. It's really a beautiful dance with the climate. And speaking of rice, get this, all of this precise seasonal planning is what makes India the second largest producer of rice in the entire world, right behind China. That one number represents an incredible amount of food for billions of people. But hey, farming isn't just about what we eat. Fiber crops are a huge part of the economy. You've got cotton, which people call the silver fiber, and jute, the golden fiber. Then there's silk, which amazingly comes from an insect, and of course, the super strong fibers of hemp. Each one has its own important story. So we've covered the how and the when. Now let's talk about the big moments, the absolute game changers. These weren't just small tweaks. These were full-blown revolutions that completely transformed how we produce food. And the most famous one, of course, is the Green Revolution. The name itself, which came from a guy named William S. Godd, really says it all. It was this sudden, dramatic explosion in crop yields, all thanks to new technology. In India, it happened in a couple of big waves. It all started in the mid-60s with these new high-yielding variety, or HYV seeds for wheat and rice. At first, only wealthier states could really afford them, but the results were so incredible that by 1968, they actually released a stamp celebrating the wheat revolution. After that, a second wave spread the technology across the country to make sure India could feed itself. But, and this is a big but, this revolution came at a price. All that intensive irrigation started draining the groundwater. The heavy use of chemical fertilizers damaged the soil. And on the human side, it often made the gap between rich farmers and poor farmers even wider. So it's super important to remember, it was complex. It brought massive benefits for sure, but also some really serious drawbacks. The thing is, the success of the Green Revolution kind of created a blueprint. People saw it work and thought, hey, what if we applied that same intense focus to other areas? And that's how a bunch of other agricultural sectors got their own colorful nicknames. And suddenly, it wasn't just about grains anymore. You had the white revolution for milk production, the blue revolution for fish. There was a yellow revolution for oilseeds, a gold one for fruits and honey, silver for eggs, even a red revolution for meat and tomatoes. Each color tells its own story of incredible growth. Let's look at a totally different, ancient type of farming, sericulture. This has nothing to do with planting seeds. It's the super delicate art of raising silkworms, harvesting their cocoons, and carefully unraveling them to create silk, which is one of the strongest natural fibers on the planet. Just incredible. And now, for a complete 180, look at this. This is a glimpse of the future. Hydroponics. This is literally farming without any soil at all. Instead, plants get a perfectly balanced diet of nutrients fed directly to their roots through water. It completely changes what a farm can even look like. So our journey has taken us all the way from a simple wooden plow to a lab where you can grow food without soil. Agriculture has never, ever stood still. But now, facing these huge challenges, climate change, a still growing population, the biggest question of all is still out there. What will agriculture's next great revolution look like? What does it need to be?